a picture in one of these vanishing Gwinnett's of my father and about 8 or 10 other people, and they were the first people that were drafted to go to World War I from Gwinnett County. But the interesting thing is, they didn't look like draftees would probably look today. They all had on suits and ties. It was an honor to be the first group going from Gwinnett County to World War I. And he was in France, and he wasn't injured, thank goodness.
Probably never thought you'd be in the Pacific, out on Guam. I guess that was an experience that you'll remember.
Yeah, it really was. Of course, I wasn't the only one. Just about all of us, it was that way. But they was, Jim, they was Japanese on the island on Guam when we got there. You wouldn't believe it. They come in the chow line at night, so to speak. It's dark, you didn't have much lights. And they'd steal clothes off of the, hanging up off of our soldiers, you know. And that's how they'd get in the line. You couldn't tell them no different from nobody else.
Their supply line was pretty poor at that time. I guess it was hungry.
Yeah, but I could lay in my bed at night and hear shots going off. Of course, I never did run out there to try to find out what it was all about. For some reason, I got to thinking about Davis Hogan. Me and Davis was good buddies, and we run around a lot together. And one night, I just kept thinking about him, and one evening, when we come off the line to go eat, there old Davis was laying in my bed, on my bed. I said, now ain't that odd? Think about somebody 2 or 3 days, and then when you come in to eat, you find him laying in the bed with you. Well, he stayed with me 3 days and 3 nights.
Oh, okay.
Caught him a plane, went back up the country there somewhere, where it was he came from.
I was in the Navy and served all of my time in the Pacific. We were in several of the major engagements over there, about 7, I believe. Iwo Jima, the Marianas, the Philippine Seas. That made me feel more independent. It gave me an opportunity to really try to see more about the country and the world, and the opportunities that could be available for us if we would really take the time to prepare ourselves. So when I got out of the Navy, I went to college and got a degree, and after that, through my school experience and through the fact that my father was so involved in business that was always a part of me.
Well, would you like me to tell you about Africa?
Yeah, sure.
We went over on a boat, and we got over there, and they told us to go to this hotel until we could find a place to live. So we went down to the hotel, and my wife said, I'm going down in the basement and do a little laundry. So she got down there, and this girl over next door doing some laundry. And this lady says, where about you from? She says, I'm from Ohio, and my husband's from Georgia. I said, whereabouts in Georgia? She said, a little bit old town, you wouldn't know where it was. She said, what's the name of it? I said, Dacula. She said, Lord mercy, that's where I'm from.
So you found somebody in Africa from your hometown.
Yeah, and we were good friends with them. Rosalind Duncan and her husband also was from Dacula, so we got to be real good friends with them while we were in Africa. But we got us a little villa over there. It's very cheap, I think, $30 a month, and like a mansion here. And one of the Arabs next door had a child to die, and I took my automobile over there. I had a new one, and I said, they didn't have no hearses, anything like that. I said, take my automobile and use it all you want to get the child buried. So they did. They got this automobile and went down the road, and all these people following. He come back, and he said, you know, I just don't know how to thank you so much. He said, you're the first person that ever done anything like that for me. I said, well, that's the way the neighbor's supposed to do. But from that day on, I was a king around there. They took care of me. They brought me stuff and looked after me. Over there, they'd rob you pretty easy, but nobody never touched any part of our house. They looked after us because I became friends with them.
Born and raised in the Lawrenceville area, so just right on the edge of Dacula. And then when I started in high school, we lived inside of Dacula school limits. So I went through high school at Dacula High School, and then when me and Michelle decided to buy a house, we figured Dacula was probably the best place for us to go, just far enough outside of the city and still close enough to get back in when you need to. I was surprised to find that there were seasons, not necessarily a spring and a fall, but it definitely went from summer to winter. When we got there in September, it was I guess the heat was on a downhill, but it was still about 113, 114, which, I'd take 113 degrees in Iraq over 95 degrees in Georgia because of the humidity and whatnot. So
The humidity is a lot lower, right?
So
Okay.
really, it wasn't too bad, and we train a lot out in the Mojave Desert in California, so we were all kind of used to that kind of heat. But then, come December, we were all very surprised to see it drop below freezing. Our job was to single out individuals and try to get an honest view from them. We never ran into anybody who said, "We want you to go home." But you do run into people who want to know why their house is blown up, and you explain to them that it's because you had bad guys in your house. But the people are so varied. I mean, there inside the Sunni Triangle, you obviously have a certain type of person that's breeding a lot of what's going on right now. But you go down south into Basra and those areas, or you go up north, and it's just completely different people. So to try to label them the way we do here and say this is how Iraqis feel is almost a comical thing, because they're just as diverse, if not more diverse, in opinion and beliefs as we are. We just kind of travel on pins and needles and hope that the next piece of garbage on the side of the road is a piece of garbage.
And not one of those roadside bombs.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure that's something that keeps you on edge all the time.
Mm-hmm. Well, we had a couple flat tires and things like that, so fortunately the ones they got us on were not very successful bombs that were set up. Yeah, I guess the biggest thing I came away from Iraq, other than just some of the more intense experiences and whatnot, is that when you come home and you turn on the news, it doesn't seem that there's a war going on. And it's a shame, because there are kids, barely 18-year-old kids over there who wake up every day and do something extremely dangerous and don't care a whole lot, because they're just that devoted to what they do. It's not a big deal. It's really not a big deal. It's not a big deal to load up the 50 cal full of ammo and go wherever Sergeant Dasher tells you to go and do whatever, and it's no big deal, but it is. And you turn on the TV and it's just not happening, and it's I don't know, it's kind of disappointing, because you lose attachment to what's going on over there, and there's no way to find out what's going on with the guys that are still there and everything. So that's a little bit of a frustration. I just wish more people knew how much good is being done, because it's everybody expected a very rapid transition over there, and we would wipe a slate clean and this new country would rise up out of the sand, and it just can't happen that way. And I just wish more people understood the situation over there, knew what was going on, and knew what good soldiers and Marines and sailors and airmen are doing.